And this is a scenario, now you're pretty much at the end of life and you're pulling that product off the market. It's no longer in commercial distribution. You do need to make a updated SPL to identify that date. So there's some requirements about that date. It's the final expiration date of that last lot. And you want to make sure that when you submit that SPL that it was in fact received and published. This is basically the final step in the life of that drug product, but you certainly do want to meet all the compliance regulations with the FDA. So David, let's touch on how the FDA would handle this particular scenario in their tools, and then what capabilities are available in the ReadTech Navigator for drug labels.
Yeah. So again, kind of touching back on that NDC confirmation, this is where this kind of delisting process is critical to make sure you have a good resource to confirm what codes we can use, right? So there's two things happening in industry, right? With the FDA, when they made the changes to their final labeling rule, and there's now this blanket no change certification option to certify drug products, right? FDA requires that you certify the products that you've registered every year now. And there are many companies who are on, Gary, we've done presentations on this before, right? The naughty list is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
So that naughty list would be organizations who didn't delist, but the product may be out of commercial distribution, it may be end of life, and it's now ending up on a specific section of FDA's database in primarily the NDC directory as expired, right? So it's been removed from the NDC directory, but it hasn't quite been wrapped up, delisted, put to its final resting place. Well, maybe.
Yeah, David,
maybe
every time you bring this up, I remember the words from FDA where they said, don't do the lazy way out and try to delist your product by not putting it in the certified listing. So
right.
There's some companies that just take it off their certification list, but that's not the intent of the FDA, and they warned about doing that, and you fall into this expired category, and you really haven't delisted it.
Yeah, and really the primary resources that we tend to see organizations using, or even we assist with using them as well to help with this type of research, is DailyMed in the FDA's NDC directory, right? Before Navigator had all of these awesome features years ago, we were using a lot of these tools to confirm. Now with Navigator, it makes my life so much easier. But the idea is, whether it's because we are closing something out and ensuring, yep, everything's there, we see it, and you're kind of checking that last box off that everything I see in the database is correct. A user with, let's say it's a human prescription drug that we're closing out because it's end of life, we're no longer going to be distributing it, right? If we're a generic manufacturer, that one product we started selling, it really didn't fly, we weren't getting much out of it, let's delist it. They delist it. You could have been tracking your own label, and then Navigator notifies you, yep, this has had an update, right? Those types of things. Well, with DailyMed and the NDC directory, you can search by both the name of the product and the NDC code. With the directory, you can even search by the company name. And so it really allows you to find the database. And then there's the database files, the raw files. That I prefer that, because then you can see it just lays the data out differently. And again, the user interfaces are different. We spend a lot of time, some of our colleagues in Gary and I work with very closely in our kind of user experience team. They did a lot of work to really understand what would make this an easy to use tool, and they've done a great job. So, but the idea went with DailyMed, with DailyMed and the NDC directory, once the marketing end date has passed on the records, right? So you say, okay, this product's complete. this is the end date. This is when we're no longer marketing it. Usually that might be the last date of expiry on, or last date of expiration on a lot that's the last lot that was distributed. Once that passes, it makes it tricky to find that data, right? You'd have to go filtering through the Daily Meds archives, and that can be tricky to use as well, especially if you are newer to the organization and you had no reference of this product previously, right? So with Navigator, really having that historical data, active versions, previous versions, you can search by the product name, you can search by NDC code. Just like with FDA tools, you can even, and I suggest this, like if you're ever filtering through their databases, just putting in the labeler code will kind of discover everything. You'll see them all. But yeah, NDC code search results really provide all active and delisted or naughty list products listings. So what we're seeing here, this is a very, we didn't want to show an organization that may have had thousands of products because it would just get too time consuming to review on one single screen. But what we're seeing here is with Navigator, just like we had done previously with the searches, this NDC package code is a search filter that will be available to everyone viewing in the search results within a matter of days now in our next release. But this is going to allow users and allow you to then not just receive the information and see the products, but now you can see the specific codes to that product. So let's say, for example, we are a OTC contract manufacturer working with Apotheca, and Apotheca says, hey, we'd like you to manufacture this product for us, right? We can go in now into our Navigator and search and see, okay, what codes have been used, right? Ensure that we use the right format of NDC code and not the 532 format accidentally. But the idea and the concept here is once we've done this search and create our search, we can save it. So that way we always can just go back and see, well, what has changed? We can export this information into Excel, our search results. Another cool feature about Navigator is it allows you to just export the search results as well. So you can see the very high level of information instead of if you don't necessarily want to dig into each individual label. And then up at the top here, you'll also be able to filter through. So if we were even looking at information that wasn't necessary, if it was just a generic or a general ingredient search we did, you can filter by company name at the top and it'll just show you those companies, or by marketing category or product type, things like that. So these are all super helpful things that when we're trying to confirm whether it be delisting or if an NDC code could be used because we might be a contract manufacturer, or even working at an organization that has a very developed product portfolio and we're nearing using every single code, right? Should we tell FDA yet we need another labeler code? I don't know. How many codes do we have, right? So that's the type of thing. And a lot of times, this could have been spanning what, over 15 years of products. So it's very helpful to just, with a simple search and a click of a button, you can have this information available to you on the interface or exported then so that you can like hone in on it, filter it, so forth.